up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be talking about Orangetheory Fitness. So if you're not familiar with Orangetheory, it's a franchise of studios where it's like a group fitness thing. What they have on their website is a science-backed, technology-tracked, coach-inspired group workout. So that's basically what that is. Essentially with Orangetheory, the goal is to be in the orange zone of your heart rate for at least 12 minutes. And that is 84 to 91% of your maximum heart rate. According to research, if you accomplish that in an hour workout, you will burn the calories that you burned in the workout, obviously. And then additionally, the next day, you will earn 50% of the calories you burned yesterday when you were working out. The next day, like doing nothing. You could literally just sit on your couch all day and you're gonna burn apparently half of those calories that you burned yesterday again. So, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. I was super interested in this. I tried this out for the first time probably last year. They offer a free class in your area, so I signed up for that and I tried it, but I never actually signed up until about 6 months later, and that was mostly because it was so much money. It is very, very expensive. So I was on the plan, it was $100 a month for 8 classes a month. I know that's crazy, like that is a lot of money, especially for a girl in college, but I thought it would get me in really good shape and I just really wanted to do it, and I've seen a lot of people getting great results with it, so I wanted to try it out myself. So I didn't really care about how much money it cost, but I should have. Well, that's nice, the little wind chimes. I forgot those even exist. The wind never blows here in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is like very rare. Super weird. What was I saying? It's very, very expensive. $160 a month if you wanted to go every day of the month, like an unlimited plan. So obviously that was not in my budget. Basically, I would just do 2 Orangetheory classes a week on top of lifting on my own and stuff. I'm really bad at cardio and I honestly needed a coach to yell at me and tell me to run because otherwise I won't. So that's why I did it. And honestly, it worked really great for me. I've never been in such good shape. I was never a runner, ever. I couldn't do that. Like if you asked me to run a mile, I could do it, but I'd be dying by the end, you know, like it was just not a good look. So like now I can bust out 2 miles without even thinking about it, and that's something I never even thought I'd ever be able to do. So Orangetheory is really great. I recommend trying it out. Like if you want to go try out a free class, it's definitely a really good experience and it got me really great results. Like I said, I lost tons of weight. I think I look in shape and healthy, and that's what I was looking for, and I think Orangetheory really helped me get there. I really like the way they structure their workouts. It's very high intensity. Like I said, the whole goal of it is to be in pretty high in your maximum heart rate for majority of the class. So it's a very intense class, and it will take a little bit to work up to it, to get used to it, because honestly the first couple times after, I felt like I died, like I got hit with a truck. But you just gotta keep going, you gotta keep trying. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and it really did help me out. So a little disclaimer, I did actually just recently cancel my Orangetheory membership, but like I said, I really love the way that they structure their workouts. I'm going to continue to do Orangetheory style workouts at the gym on my own. Since I've been doing it for like 6 months now, I kind of know how they formulate their workouts, so I wanted to show you guys how to do it from your home so you can save some money, get into really good shape, because who doesn't want to do that? Okay, so let's get into how they kind of structure their workouts. So the workout is about an hour long. It's a little bit under that. I believe it's like 52 minutes or something like that, but it's divided into 3 sections, and those 3 sections are the weight floor, the treadmill, and then the rowing machine. And those are all about 15 minutes each, the way that it's divided up, but they do different intervals and stuff. I don't know, it'll all make sense when I continue. So I guess the next thing I wanted to do is kind of dive into each section and kind of explain to you what they do. So on the weight floor, what they usually do is there's going to be 4 to 5 exercises. They do the time blocks a little bit different each time, so you might have like a circuit of like 2 exercises that you're doing for like 4 minutes straight, and then you move on to something else and you'll come back and do a different set of exercises. You can kind of play around with it and do it however you want, but basically for the whole duration of the class you're going to do 4 to 5 different exercises for 15 minutes, like no matter how it's like spaced out, if that makes sense. It is going to be divided generally into upper body and lower body, and then there's always abs every day, like about 1 to 2 exercises. You'll get like 3 to 4 upper or lower body exercises with 1 to 2 ab workouts, if that makes sense. I would recommend doing it like that, like 1 day upper body, 1 day lower body. I think it's just so much to do it all at once, but you could if you wanted to, in theory. It's all about what you want to do. I personally enjoy dividing it into upper body and lower body, if that makes sense. So with the treadmill, there are 3 different types of workouts that you could do. It's based on your ability and based on like your fitness level as is. A walker, jogger, and a runner. So the walker is going to stay at about like 3.5 to 4.5 miles per hour, whatever you're comfortable doing like a speed walking in, and the way you're going to get that intensity up is doing the inclines. So if you're a jogger, basically what that is meant to do is transition you between the walker and runner status. It's like getting you ready to get ready to be a runner, you know what I'm saying? There is base pace, a pace where you would be comfortable running like that for 30 minutes straight, like just running, just kind of, you know, warming up. You're in your base pace. You are going to want to try and figure that out for yourself, like test it out. You can definitely push yourself, but sometimes I've been a little too aggressive with my base pace and I've started too fast and then I would lose all my energy before. So it's really important to find a good base pace. Not only is it like your warm-up pace and you don't want to go too fast, run out of all your gas before you even get to the actual workout. It's also going to be what you use to cool down after you do a sprint or something. So they base the whole workout off of your base pace. So let me explain that. The next level above base pace is push pace. So push pace is supposed to be a little uncomfortable. Like this is when you're actually like starting to push yourself. That's why it's called push pace. You should be a little bit out of breath when you're done with it. Your push pace is 1 to 2 miles per hour over your base pace. So that's why I said base pace is so important, because it does dictate where your workout goes. The next one above push is all out. 2 or more miles over your base pace. So this is like you're like sprinting, like you're hauling ass. And this can be as much or as little as you want. 2 miles per hour over your base pace is the minimum for an all out. I'll give you an example. My push pace was 7.5 miles per hour, and then my all out pace I could get up to 10.5. So that was a whole 4.5 miles above my base pace. My base pace is personally 6 miles per hour. Obviously, make sure you listen to your body, and if you're literally gonna fall off the treadmill and you're gonna die, maybe you should take it down a little bit. Don't you hate it when your neighbors start blowing your leaves and you're trying to record a video? That's just so fucking rude. Like, can't you just like get the fuck out? This is my house. Oh, that was good. I'm just having all sorts of issues. Okay, are we good now? Oh yes, we're good. The rowing block is going to be a series of rows of different distances, and then after you complete a certain amount of rows, then you'll go and do like one exercise behind it with like a medicine ball or something. Their favorite one, I feel like every single time I went, after the rowing machine, they would just be like, do a bunch of like, what did they even call it? They call it like power jacks. And like literally, I am so done with power jacks. You want a demonstration? It looks like this. You're holding a medicine ball and you just go like this. I hate it. It's so stupid. And I feel like it doesn't even work anything. But anyways, not the point. Okay, so now that I've explained the 3 different components to the Orangetheory workouts, I will get more into how they structure them and how they execute them, I guess, if that makes sense. So let's do it. Not only does Orangetheory break up the workouts based on upper body and lower body, but they also break them up into 3 different categories. And those are strength day, endurance days, and power days. So each day does have a purpose, and they have a very systematic way of how they approach it. So I just kind of wanted to go through that with you. So for strength day, here's what we do. So for the weights, after you decide if it's upper body or lower body, whatever you're feeling that day, it's very important to make sure that you keep the reps low and then the weights high. This is the day where you basically want to challenge yourself and try to lift a new weight that you're not even sure if you can, honestly. Don't hurt yourself, that's not what I'm saying, because that's the whole goal for this day, is to increase your strength. So that's what I'm stressing with the weight floor. So the way that they do this is like kind of drop sets. So they'll start with like 10 reps, for example. You go through all the exercises in the circuit at 10 reps, and then the second round of the circuit you'll then jump down to 8 reps. And as you jump down, you want to increase your weight that you use each time you jump down on the rep count, because the point is that you want to push more weight. Obviously, like with your strength, like you can't push the same amount of weight you can for 10 reps as you can for 8 reps, if that makes sense. You want to make sure that you're increasing your weight each time, and that if you start at 10 reps and you jump down to the 8 reps for the exercise, you want to do a weight that you could not push 10 times. If you're doing 8 reps, it should be the maximum amount of weight you can do for 8 reps, and that stays true for each time you go down on the drop set. So that's something to keep in mind. So with the treadmill, on a strength day, they work with progressive hills. So what that means is basically you are going to start at 0% incline, which they call flat row. You're going to start there and you're going to stay in base pace the whole entire time, because like I said, we are working with hills and inclines in order to get that intensity up and still get that 12 minutes in the orange zone. So basically what that means is you start at 0% incline, and then from there you're going to increase your incline 3% each time in a systematic interval. So you want to do that for about 4 rounds. You want to keep increasing. So start at 0, increase to 3, then increase to 6, then 9, then 12. Once you get to 12, what you're going to do is go back down again. Can this focus? Jesus Christ. All right, we had to move over. Sorry about that. Once you get to the top of the hill at like 12% incline, for example, that is when you decrease it and go all the way back down to 0. At the end of the block, before you get off, they usually give you a 30-second all out, just sprinting as hard as you can. They like to end everything on a sprint because it's good for you. It really is. Okay, so the way that the rowing intervals work is going to be focused on power. So getting however many meters your distance is in as fast as you possibly can, and not just kind of leisurely rowing, you know, which I love to do. Rowing's my least favorite part. But anyway, so for example, just to give you some context as to how they usually do those intervals, they usually start with like a 500-meter row, which is a longer row. From there, just like the treadmill, you're going to decrease your distance instead of like decreasing the inclines on the treadmill. So after you did the 500-meter row, you would get off the rowing machine, take a breather and do an exercise. Like I said, those power jacks. They typically like to do like some kind of full body exercise. If it's a lower body day, they generally do squats or jump squats. If it's an upper body day, they do those power jacks. So in between each rowing interval, you are going to go and do your exercise, whatever it is for that day. So after you complete the 500-meter row, you will then go and decrease it by 100 meters and then do a 400-meter row as fast as you can, just like before. But each time, my point is that the distance gets smaller, but you're supposed to keep the intensity the whole time, if that makes sense. Next, we have endurance day. Obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be more long distance stuff, focusing on endurance, obviously. So with the weight floor, basically what that means is you are going to do more reps than you would on strength day. You want to go high reps with lower weights. So like I said, you'll pick 4 to 5 exercises based on like lower body or upper body, whatever you're feeling that day. They do like to include a lot more body weight workouts. Like for example, they do a lot of squats mixed with jump squats or different kinds of squats for lower body day and like lunges and stuff, and they use the benches like step ups and stuff. So my point is, on endurance day they do a lot of body weight exercises. However, if you are going to use weights for something, they do have you use a lower weight, and because you're doing higher reps, if that makes sense. If you're doing upper body day, a lot of times they'll have you doing different variations of push-ups, or like they use the TRX straps. They do a lot of different things to kind of mix up your workout. The point is that for this day, you're focusing on high reps with low weights, and a lot of times it's body weight exercises. Then for the treadmill, obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be longer intervals. Base pace intervals that are like a minute long, followed by 45 seconds to up to like 2 minutes at push pace, to try and get you building up that endurance and like also maintaining that speed too. So speed is a little bit of an aspect, but you're not focusing so much on the all outs. It's more about being able to keep up a pace for a certain amount of time. So like for that, I'll just give you an example of how they would usually break up these intervals. So you're always going to start at your base pace for like a minute just to get yourself warmed up. And from there, after your base pace, they might start with a 45-minute push pace to get you kind of started, to get used to that speed a little bit, you know? So after the 45 seconds, then you would go and do 30 seconds of your base pace again. And then from there, you will increase your push pace. So this time it might be like a minute. And then after you run push pace for a minute, then you stop and do the base pace for 30 seconds again. I've seen them go all the way up to 2-minute push paces. Like I said, really the key here is trying to keep the same pace throughout the whole entire workout, and you will be on the treadmill for about 15 minutes. And then for the rowing, this is going to be similar to the strength day, whereas it's going to be like oftentimes it's like decreasing rows. It's going to be the same kind of thing where like you start high with your rows. Usually they start with about 600-meter row, which is a long ass row, I will tell you. So they don't really focus on you getting it done as fast as you can. You're kind of trying to go through it. Then maybe you'll decrease from a 600-meter row to a 400-meter row. As always, in between you're going to be doing some kind of exercise. For this one, it's probably going to be body weight squats or something not too intensive, because it is an endurance day and you did just row a long ass way, so you need to recover from that, not kill yourself. Like I said, just going for a long time and making sure you keep like a consistent pace throughout the whole thing. So I guess in short, endurance day is really just about keeping your pace the same throughout the whole entire workout, and also working with high reps and low weights. And then last but not least, we have power day. It's basically as it sounds. You're really going to be getting that intensity up. It's going to be all about the intensity for this day. On the weight floor, it's going to be a lot of HIIT training, like high intensity interval training. There's going to be a lot of body weight exercises. There's going to be a lot of jumping around, but essentially what power day is high intensity jumping around, like body weight workouts. It's about jumping higher, like being faster with your movement. It's all about that. At the treadmill, basically you're going to be focusing mostly on your push pace and all outs. So the way that they do those intervals is going to be obviously starting at your base pace as usual, but you're going to primarily be doing longer push pace intervals. For example, I'll just kind of lay this out. I feel like this is the only way it makes sense if I lay out how they typically would do the intervals. After you warm up and do your base pace, it's going to start with like a longer push pace interval. So it might be like a minute push pace, followed then by a 30-second all out. And then you're going to get longer rest times for this kind of workout. So you will stay in base pace after that interval for a minute instead of like 30 seconds for the other kind of days. You want to make sure that you're recovering, so that way you are focusing on your speed primarily. And from there, you will repeat it. And that's basically what you do on the treadmill. These days are very, very sweaty, but they're very good for you. And then for rowing, it's going to be short rowing intervals. So like the maximum on a day I've seen for a power day would be like 300-meter rows. So you might start at a 300-meter row as fast as you possibly can, and then go and do an exercise like jump squats or the power jacks or something like that. And then come back back to your rowing machine, and from there you will do 200-meter row as fast as you can. And you want to keep getting faster each time, like try and literally do it as fast as you can. And then after you complete the 200-meter row, followed by whatever high intensity body exercise you decide to do that day, you would then come back to your rowing machine and do a 100-meter row, and then repeat that 1 to 2 more times from there until you reach the time of like 15 minutes, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's power day. It's a lot of high intensity, going as fast and as hard as you can. So it's a rough day, but it's a good one. Okay, so hopefully this video made sense. Like, I don't know if I explained that as well as I could have. I tried my best. It is a very complex workout, and I think they want to make it harder to explain because, I mean, they have to provide value, right? If they're going to charge you $100 a month, it has to be worth your time. So I will say that I really did enjoy my Orangetheory experience, and if I had a bunch of money, I would continue doing it, but it just doesn't really work out for me right now, so that's why I stopped. But after doing them for a really long time and like seeing like such a positive impact on my body, and like not only being able to run really fast like I've never been able to do before and for a long time, but I've just seen a lot of strength increases. I don't know. I think I look good. I'm really happy with my experience overall, besides how much it costs. So I really hope that this made sense. I really feel like it didn't though. Oh, also one thing I don't think I touched on. One reason that I think it's really important to keep in mind about the strength, endurance, and power days and making sure that you do get a mix of all of those is because I think the really great thing about Orangetheory and what makes you get in such good shape from it is because it's such a variety and it's different all the time, and you're focusing on so many different aspects of fitness at the same time. It's really easy to get stuck in a routine. I think it's really important to look at your fitness in all levels and try and improve on all levels instead of maybe just one. I'm not saying that you can't focus on one and want to get better in one area, but I think personally for me, it was really easy for me to look at Taylor Chamberlain or Katie Hearn or something on social media, or like a bunch of bodybuilding girls or something, and they just literally lift all the time, and I felt like I was really strong, but I didn't get like a lot of the cardio benefits and stuff. So that was just a piece of it, of my like fitness that was missing for me. And I think Orangetheory does a really good job encompassing all areas and making you better in all areas. Okay, well, wow, that was a lot. I'm really embarrassed by how long I just took recording that. Like, I don't even know how to talk, whatever. It's been a lot. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful to you. Please let me know down below if you want to see more stuff like this. So yeah, I guess that's it. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that little bell for the notifications. You know, you can't miss this fun and fresh content. You don't want to miss this ish. Alright, I need to go. Someone stop me. Okay, bye.